It's not me.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Please be seated. Thank you. Before I start the meeting, I will inform you this meeting is being recorded. Okay, if anybody's got an objection, then. Yes, I will.
Everybody needs to use their microphones.
Anyway, good welcome, good afternoon. I think we'll start by introducing ourselves. I'm Barry Crowe. I'm Vice Chair of the Licensing and General Purposes Committee and a councillor for Puriton, Woollavington and Cossington. I always have to forget that because it doesn't show it on the electoral register as Cossington, so I have to always remember. Anyway, good afternoon.
And I'm Councillor Liz Levy. I represent Hamport and Bridgewater. And I'm on the licensing.
My name is Will Human and I'm ward member for Markham Wedmore.
The officers could please introduce themselves, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon. My name's Alan Weldon, Licensing and Fraud Manager for Sedgemoor District Council. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Richard Noakes, Licensing Officer for the Licensing Team at Sedgemoor Council.
Nigel Osborne, Legal Advisor to the panel.
Rose Stokes, Committee Manager.
And if you could introduce yourselves, please.
I'm Shamika Bitton, I'm the owner of the Boss Lounge.
I'm Harry Bitton and I'm co-owner of the Boss Lounge.
Thank you.
I'm Ian Crockart, I work for Impact and we're representing Shamika.
Thank you all very much. Right, we'll start on the agenda. Apologies for absence.
We've received none, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any urgent business?
We've received none, thank you.
Any declarations of interest?
No.
No, thank you. Right, we'll move to item 4, which is the Boss Lounge. To consider an application for the full variation to the premise licence for the Boss Lounge, Unit 2, Chapel Street, Burnham, TA8 1AU, following objections having been received. Could I now go to the licensing officers to start with first, please?
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everybody. It's down as Simon Baller on the sheet, but it's not Simon, it's me today. As Chair has just said, the purpose of the report today is to consider an application for a variation to a premises licence under the Licensing Act 2003. A little bit of background to the application. In December 2015, premises licence was granted after a licensing panel hearing for a new premises licence for a new coffee and cocktail bar selling vape products. This was at Unit 2, Chapel Street, Burnham-on-Sea, TA8 1AU, and was trading as the Vapery. The premises licence at the time, well, the premises licence holder at the time was a Mr. Mark Whitfield, who then subsequently transferred it to Ms. Leanne Underhill and Mr. Jonathan Underhill on the 17th of March 2018. The premises was again transferred to Ms. Shamika Bitton on the 22nd of April 2022, trading as the Boss Lounge. On 17th of January 2023, a new application for a variation to a premises licence in respect of the Boss Lounge, Unit 2, Chapel Street, Burnham-on-Sea, TA8 1AU, was received from Ms. Shamika Bitton. The application seeks authorisation for extending the licensed hours for the retail sale of alcohol and recorded music on Friday and Saturday to 10:00 to 01:30 hours, and to extend the retail sale of alcohol in non-standard timings for New Year's Eve until 02:30 hours, Boxing Day until midnight, and all bank holidays until 0100 hours. Also, the application was to amend the condition 5, annex 2 conditions to say that no one permitted on the premises under 18 years of age, and to remove condition 7, annex 2 conditions, alcohol sales permitted only to those over 21 years of age. The licensable activities and the licensable activity times Sunday to Thursday are to remain the same, as are the opening times, with no changes. Currently, the licensing activities and times are as follows. Recorded music indoors only. Sale and supply of alcohol for consumption on and off the premises, Monday to Thursday from 1000 hours till 2300 hours, Friday and Saturday from 1000 hours to midnight, Sunday 1200 hours until 2200 hours, and December the 31st until 0100 hours New Year's Day. Annex 2 conditions consistent with the operating schedule are that no one permitted on the premises is under 18 years of age, with no one under 21 years of age permitted after 1900 hours, 7 p.m. And condition 7, that alcohol sales are only permitted to those over 21 years of age. A redacted copy of the application is attached to the report at Appendix A, and the plan of the local area at Appendix D, and a slightly more detailed plan at Appendix C. The current position is that objections to the application have been received within the permitted time frame from residents, business and the town council. The objectives include Mrs. Donna Berry from the Paws and Bark Pet Shop. This is Appendix D and E. Mrs. Susan Price, Appendix F, and Mr. James Lynn, Appendix G, and Burnham and Highbridge Town Council, Appendix H. All those objections touch on all of the licensing objectives. The Police and Environmental Health team have agreed a set of conditions with the applicant for inclusion within any granted licence. These are shown at Appendix I and J, respectively. The applicant has volunteered a set of conditions for the premises for inclusion within any granted licence. These are shown at Appendix K. On the 2nd of February 2023, Mrs. Berry objected and wished to remain anonymous. This is the objection, this is in Appendix D. It was explained to the objector that we cannot accept objections that are made anonymously, and if they wish to object, then licensing will need a full name and address of the objector. Mrs. Berry then subsequently sent another email on the 11th of February confirming her address details. This is in Appendix E. The applicant advised the licensing team that they'd written to two of the objectors, Mrs. Berry and Mrs. Price, and included the agreed conditions with the Police and Environmental Health. They also commented that they'd attempted to communicate with Burnham and Highbridge Town Council with no success. There was one other objector who wished to remain anonymous, whose representations have therefore not been included in the report. The options today are to grant the application as applied for, to grant the application with agreed conditions, to grant the application in part, to grant the application in part with attached conditions, or to refuse the application. The licensing officer has confirmed that the representations are relevant, and it is therefore the duty of the panel to determine the application with a view to promoting the licensing objectives, which are the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, protection of children from harm. The issue for the panel is whether the application as submitted sufficiently promotes the licensing objectives, whether the promotion of the licensing objectives requires the application to be granted subject to conditions, or whether the application requires it to be rejected because the licensing objectives cannot be met by the imposition of those conditions. There are no equality implications identified. It is therefore for the panel to determine the application. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed. Panel members, do you have any questions for the licensing officer?
No.
No?
It's all clear.
Do the applicants have any questions for the licensing officer? No? No? Right. We'll move to then. Would you please state your case for us, please?
Good afternoon. Subject to your agreement, I'm going to let Shamika stand up and explain to you our business so that you get, because most of the objections here have been for the, it's only for general public rather than the authorities. So I think it's probably quite important that you get to see Shamika and understand what our business is. So, Shamika.
Hello, I'm a bit nervous.
Hello.
Hello.
Don't be nervous.
So I've got quite a lot of businesses. I've got a chip shop, a beauty salon over there. So I deal with like alcohol over there with my treatments and I keep everything okay. We've got a grill of vape shops. We've got 3 of them in Burnham, Weston, and Bridgewater. We wanted a cocktail bar, me and my sister-in-law, because we love cocktails. And there's nowhere to go. So we just wanted a place where we feel safe and other girls and other couples can go and without having any trouble, where they can have the fancy cocktails you get in the cities, Bristol and stuff, without having to travel, because we know how much money it is to go to these places, and we wanted something for the town. We own Grilla Vapes, which we get a lot of the seaside people come into, like tourists, and they always come into Grilla Vapes in the summer and say, where's there to go? We're at the caravan parks. There isn't anywhere to go. So we thought, do you know what? Let's make something where we can have the caravan parks give like discounted for a free cocktail or something like that, or do cocktail making lessons. So we've got something to do in the area. That's basically what we want to do, and not to have loads of loud music blaring from it. We just want someone to go, have a little nice place, cocktails, and that's it. Other people who've owned the bar in the past, we know there's been a lot of bad things that happen with the police and everything like that, having call-outs all the time, loud music, disrespectful for the neighbours and stuff, and we're not like that. We've got security on the doors. We literally just want to make it safe and happy for everyone. We're not here to cause trouble. I don't know what else to say, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Panel members, do you have any questions for the applicants? How much time will you be spending at the park? Because obviously with all your businesses all over the place, do you be spending much time overseeing things there?
Well, my sister-in-law does, and our partners, our husbands and brothers, so they spend a lot of time at the bar. We run it like the staff, and making sure everything like events, like we're doing different cocktails and things like that, cocktail makers, we will be there. So mainly weekends we are. During the week we have really good staff. We have 3 girls and a man, and they're all lovely. So.
Thank you. Do you know how many your premises are licensed for? The numbers?
Yeah, 40 to 50.
40 to 50, okay.
Yeah.
So it's quite small. Okay.
Yeah, it's only small.
Thank you, thank you. Licensing officer, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, just in terms, obviously you've agreed conditions with environmental health, particularly with relevance to noise. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good. I'm aware of the layout of the premises, obviously, in that you've got that thin kind of Chapel Street in between your premises and maybe a couple of premises on the other side. I think it's fair to say in the past that the issues have been with the door, and I noticed you mentioned door people. I think it's going to be a challenge, I think, but I think obviously you've made your case in your operating schedule anyway and been very thorough. And in that respect, I think the concern is to be inaudible within the premises. I know that's one of the conditions you've agreed. That's quite a challenge. And I know with the door, the problem was, ironically, considering it used to be called the vapory, but smokers would go in and out and use the area outside, and the door created the wire effect that caused some of the issues. How are you looking at being able to manage that?
So when we took over the bar, they had these massive speakers, and they're huge. We got rid of them straight away, and that was the one thing we got rid of. So we have like the little Sony speakers, they're literally tiny. So they don't have no bass in them or anything. So when the doors open, the music's very, very not going out that much because you haven't got no bass of it. We've told the security guys, as soon as they open the door, it's no talking, it's quickly get out, they walk in and out fast. Like they don't have place to chat, keep the door wide open. They have their fags, and then he tries to get them all in as quickly as possible. He doesn't leave until the last person goes. So we know there's no fighting or anything like that. We haven't had no fights or anything actually, so touch wood. It's actually been quite good.
Okay, yeah. And in that respect, are you going to have door staff there all the time throughout? Sorry, I might not have picked up on that from that. I read it again, but sorry, yeah.
Yeah, on the weekend, on Friday and Saturday on our late nights, there'll always be door staff. But on the quiet nights when we shut at 11, we don't have any, but we don't have that many people in there during the week.
So I'm guessing you'll manage that from within the premises on those days,
Yeah.
Okay, and just one other thing, you did mention free cocktails. Obviously, a little bit concerned you've got to stick to the minimum pricing, etc. That will be on your mandatory conditions, yeah.
Yeah.
So going to have to be able to manage that, okay?
Okay, yeah.
Just caused me a bit of concern when you said that, obviously.
It was only like a discount, like if we stay in the holiday park, just to
Oh, I
entice them
see.
to come over, so they might get like a
Yeah.
buy one, get one free of this leaflet, I don't know, just something, it's something we thought about, just to help other caravan places get a bit of business.
Okay, thanks. Thank you very much. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. Is there any further questions anybody has for the, I just want, oh, yes, yes.
Hi, yeah, just a couple. Firstly, when did you become owners of the property?
So we took it over last January, and then we opened at Easter, because we did it all up, we gutted it all and everything.
Okay, and you've been trading since then under the original licence?
Yeah, yeah.
And a question I've got, and it may be just the way it's been presented, or maybe you didn't really think about it when you were filling in your application, because you're looking to amend your hours only on Friday and Saturday, aren't you? In your application that's in the paperwork on page 24, it says you're only open on Friday and Saturday. Are you open the rest of the week?
Yeah, yeah. Yes, we are. We're open on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. We have Monday and Tuesday we close. And we only open from 4 p.m, so we don't open during the day, so.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry, just to clarify that point, is that's your varied hours rather than the operating hours overall then? That's your variation, yeah?
Yeah.
That's the variation,
Okay, thanks.
Just to be clear, you don't open until 4.
Yeah.
Does that include the weekends as well?
Yeah, we open at 4. We might open at 12 in the summer, because I know we have licenses from 10 in the morning, but at the moment it's just too quiet. So maybe in the summer we might open at 12, but we won't open any earlier.
Thank you.
Would you be happy to have that on the licence, you open at 12 rather than 10?
Yeah, I'm happy to have it at 12. We don't need to be opened any earlier, like who wants a cocktail at 10? Some people might not.
I know some people who might. Any further questions, please? No? 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 Any further questions for the licensing officer? No? Okay, well, thank you very much. We'll retire and consider. Yeah.
Chair, could you could the officers ensure a correction on page 8, if it's included anywhere, the Susan Price, it's Suzanne Price, not Susan Price. I know personally of a Susan Price who would be most offended if her name was associated with objections to licensing premises.
Duly noted, sir.
Thank you.
Sorry, just one other thing. It's in the conditions that you've agreed with the police, which is the last one, which says there must be a written noise management plan in place to ensure that the potential for noise nuisance is controlled. Has this been created yet?
Yeah, so in the evenings, Penny, our manager, when we're not there, she'll go out with a book and she would just make time and date and then just make sure that the music's not loud. Is that what you wanted? This is what the licensing when she comes to see.
I don't know, because obviously that's a police condition that they've agreed with
Yeah.
you, so I'm not actually sure. I don't know if you've got any further idea.
We'll write them once everything's in place. The problem with them is if we do them too early, then they end up wasted if the licence doesn't get granted. So as soon as it's granted, we'll put in place. Everything that's in there as a condition agreed by the police will be in place before we trade. I think that's probably covers.
Yeah, no, that's fine. As I said, it wasn't mentioned that it was in there, so
Yeah,
I didn't know where you were with that. That's fine.
Thank you. Chair, may I address the?
Yes.
Yeah, that's motion. I just really wanted to sum up here because Shamika speaks very well for herself, and I think you get a feeling for how these things run. We've looked at 4 objections. One of them is from the council, who disappointingly didn't speak to us, wouldn't speak to us, haven't spoken to us, so we couldn't negotiate anything the way they are. Police and environmental health quite happily negotiated away there, so that's good. And I know with most of these, most of the objections are about environmental health issues rather than they're more noise-based issues. And the problem with the noise-based issue, the ongoing, if if Shamika's been trading up to now with very little upset at all, and we go for this new one, it needs just, I think it's important that because anybody can pop up and say that's going to cause a lot of noise, or Sodom and Gomorrah will begin tomorrow when you open that place, but that generally isn't what happens. There is a past history with the place, but not under Shamika. So there is, I think there has been problems in the past, but nothing at all to do with you. And I think it's really, really important for us that the objections, one of the objections says that, she says that if the extension happens, the extension to the hours happen, she won't be able to sit in her garden during the summer. Well, the extension we're looking for is till 1 o'clock. So I think environmental health would probably be better having a look at the objector if she's sitting in her garden at 1:30 in the morning, but there we are, that's just my opinion. But I think it's important that these objections are all of the same ilk. They are all of this will happen, and it hasn't. It hasn't happened. It hasn't happened in the past, and under Shamika's. And I don't see a reason for it to happen in the future. That's probably about all I've got.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed. Anything else? No. 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 Right, then we'll retire and consider your application. Thank you.
Please rise for the panel.
Thank you very much. We now come to the decision of the panel. The licensing gambling panel have been asked to consider an application to the variation of a premises license known as the Boss Lounge, Unit 2, Chapel Street, Burnham-on-Sea, Somerset, following receipt of several objections. The panel has considered all the evidence presented by the applicant and objectors, both in person and in writing. The panel's decision is made in accordance with the Council's Statement of Licensing Policy and the Secretary of State's guidance on current case law. The panel is advised the applicant has already reached agreement with the police and the environmental health, has agreed conditions for inclusion on e-licence, and therefore there is no formal objection from them. In addition, the applicant has also volunteered a set of conditions for included on any approved licence. The panel received 4 objections to the application from local residents and the Town Council, most of these concerns being related to antisocial behaviour and noise. In presenting the application, Ms Bitton advised the panel that the application is modest in its terms, merely seeking to vary the existing licence by extending the hours for music and alcohol on Friday and Saturday. It is clear there have been historical problems with the premises, primarily from loud music, and this was not within their business model. The large speakers have already been removed. In addition, she accepted the proposed police conditions and offers up some conditions of her own. The decision. The panel has considered the representation of the applicant and objectors subject to the conditions agreed with the police, environmental health and the applicant. The panel finds it disappointing that none of the objectors saw fit to attend and support their objection. The panel accepts and believes that many of the noise-related issues raised in the objections were historical from the previous ownership and not directly attributable to the current applicant. Whilst it is accepted there have been many issues of antisocial behaviour in the vicinity of the premises, there is no evidence that they can be attributed directly to the premises in question. In addition, there is little control the applicant can exercise on behaviour of those outside the premises. The panel is mindful there is no objections from the responsible authorities as statutory consultees. In fact, the police, environmental health have agreed with the applicant condition which may be added to any licence that may be granted. These conditions address the range of relevant criteria identified by the prevention of crime and disorder and the prevention of public nuisance objectives identified in the Council Statement of Licensing Policy. The panel believes that the considerable number of conditions imposed for inclusion on e-licence should control the activities within the licensed area, address those initial concerns of the objectors and promote the licensing objectives. Consequently, it is the decision of the panel that the Boss Lounge be granted a variation of the premises licence on the terms requested and with the conditions agreed with the police, environmental health and those offered by Ms Bitton. Such variation is not to commence until such time as the matters identified in those conditions, such as the written noise management plan and dispersal policy, are approved by the police and environmental health are in place. Thank you very much indeed, and that concludes the panel. Now, before I just conclude the panel, I might just say, which is nothing, just for your information, this will probably be the last panel, as far as I know, under the current regime, because the authority is going into a unity authority as from the 1st of April.
All right.
So I must like to put on record, thanks to the licensing officers and staff and everybody else who've been involved in the licensing panels over a number of years, for their support and help and information, which without their help would not have enabled these panels to progress as they have done. So I'd like that minuted, please, in the minutes, that is our thanks on the panel. I'm sure my fellow members would concur with that. And
Absolutely.
thank you so much for all the work which you have all done over the years.
Thank you, Chair, and it's reciprocated as well. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes the meeting. Thank you so much.